Hello everyone, Don here with the next update on the Corsair project. Sorry I wasn't able to get this out before now. This weekend was kind of hot and miserable again, rainy, sunny, high humidity on Sunday, and Saturday I was working on it and ran into some problems with trying to cut out the brackets for my on my CNC for the battery tray. This is the final cutout of the tray I ended up using. But I had some crashes and jams. I had a problem where I was hitting here to here because I had to part clear over here because of the width of the sheet I had, and I didn't catch that before, so it messed up one. And this was kind of the first one here. I was bending it in my bender to see if it was going to be able to bend this thicker material. This was 1/8 inch. I ended up going with that's 1/8 inch, but I went with 90 thousandths is all I had left. So, but I did manage to. I got all the battery cables made. I just wanted to show you this real quick. If you haven't seen these, you can get these from Harbor Freight sells them, but you can get them a little cheaper on eBay. I bought this one on eBay. This is just a hydraulic crimper for wire terminals. It comes with multiple size dies, and this is the die I used here, which they call it a number 50, for crimping these bigger terminals like this. So that's what I used. And this, I can't remember what I paid for this, but it was a little cheaper than Harbor Freight. But it works really good. It's great. There's my old pitot tube that I broke off. I showed before. This is just aluminum. Oops, sorry, I just bent it. Just show you how soft that material was. All right, what I ended up doing is I got that fixed. I went to the hardware store because I thought I'd seen stainless steel tubing before. Sure enough, they had some 3/16 stainless. So I pulled that other tube out of here. Now this one here, look at that. I can push on it as hard as I can, and that thing will not bend. So that'll never break off. That'll tear your kidney out before that thing will break, or drop it on the floor. But either way, it fits, works good. All right, so here's the big reveal from this week's update. Here's my new battery tray, as you can see. It's hanging in there on 2 bolts into the housing, the gearbox mount. What I've got is there's rubber grommets in here. These are the fuel tank grommets you'll find on lawnmowers, riding mowers and such that have plastic fuel tanks. It's a flange type bushing that goes in. It's about 5/8 OD in the hole in here, and then it's about 1 inch OD. Has a 3/8 inch hole in it. So I have one on this side, and I took some older ones I had and cut the center out of them, made like a big washer to put on the back side because this thing protrudes through a good 3/8 of an inch. So another piece of one on the back side, and then a washer on each side, 2 bushings of the right length, and then the exact same thing on the back, and nuts. So that thing is solid. I mean, it is very, very solid. So this bracket never touches the bolts. The only thing touching the bolts is these rubber grommets, so that'll help with vibrations. Okay, then to what I did, this one might be a little hard to see. I have a permanent bracket right here that holds the battery from coming out this side, because this is just a piece. This is cut out exactly the same on the front side and the back side. And then I use my bender to make these 2 bends here. So this one here, I made this removable. So you unscrew these 2 nuts, and the battery will slide right out the side. It won't come out with cowling on, but if you just pull this bolt and drop it down, that's how I end up putting it in, because it's kind of a pain to get all this hardware in there. I tried to put this bushing on the back side, but the problem became it came too close and the bolt was going through and hitting the corner of the oil pan, and it would not clear. I wanted to kind of get the weight centered, but with the weight forward up here a little more, it even helps more with the thing. So it can't go anywhere. It's locked in from each side, so it can't slide left or right, and there's nowhere else to go. I just need to get a couple tie wraps, find an anchor point, maybe up here, to anchor these cables so they don't chafe, especially the positive one, so it doesn't short out on any corner here. I may have to polish these corners off a little bit, but I got to put a standoff. There is a little lug right there I might be able to use for a standoff. But either way, these just need to be tied up. But I've already hooked, the battery's all hooked up, and it does start and run again. Okay, and then the only other thing I did is I came in here and I clearanced out a bunch of this foam, and then I mixed up some epoxy and cotton flocks and just spread it in there to seal the foam up a little better. I needed some room to get up in here. I cut this bottom out a little more. You can see I whittled this out because this was clear into here. So now I'll be able to put my hand up in here. I got to cut the wing out the same way because it only comes, cutout's only about here. So I'll be able to get my hand up in here and get to these bolts for putting it together. So I think that's about it. I got the new bolts for the prop. So the prop's ready to go back on now. I just left it off so I could start the engine and make sure the battery was hooked up good and working. I ended up making my own battery terminals because you cannot find a number 2 gauge wire terminal with a 1/4 inch hole. And what I ended up finally doing was I bought some splices, butt splices for number 2 gauge cable. You put it in there and then you crimp it with those big tools I got. Well, I just took one side, I put a drill bit in the back side of the one side of the bushing, and then I put the other one under my press, and I flattened it right out, so it would still look like these when they're done, right? So this bottom is flat, and then I just rounded the edges off and drilled a 1/4 inch hole, and then I put them on there, crimped them, and then heated up and got some solder up in there, and then heat shrinked them. So that's how I managed to make my own. So if I was going to use a piece of copper tubing, soft copper tubing, but I needed probably like a 1/2 inch OD. Try to find something about 3/8 ID because that's what this cable gauge is, about 3/8 of an inch. But I ended up finding those two, and they're like $5 for them 2 little bushings. What a ripoff. So I'm just going to kind of clean off some of this surface rust here before I put the prop back on, but it's good to go. Tie these things down a little bit. Double check everything, put the cowling back on. Like I said, I did start it and run it, so it's ready to go. So now the rest of it is to, again, those damn covers, you know, I still got to make those covers. But I had some good setbacks. Oh, and this is also powder coated, so I powder coated that as well. It's not paint, so that'd be nice durable finish, but came out nice. We'll go with that, and because I'm going to be doing, you know, a lot of ground testing with it, it'll be out on the rough fields, the grass fields, you know, running up and down the field, and every time I do a pre-flight, you're just going to have to get in here and check this thing. It's in the wide open, it's very easy to see. Should not be a problem. So if there's anything going to come up, it's going to happen on the ground, not in the air. This thing just runs so smooth when it's at power. So there's the bottom of the wing. Again, this is where I need to cut out here, because I got to get my hand up in there to get to the nuts. The rest of that's fine. I may have to glue some blocks of wood on here in order to be able to screw the covers to it. It's the only thing that's missing on these wings. So other than that, just cleaning her up and getting her ready and go from there. I'm researching right now on what I need to do before I call the FAA. I've already got an N number reserved. I did find a video. A guy said you have to register the aircraft before you can get an airworthiness certificate. So I got a call into a friend, waiting for him to return my call to see what he did. He just had his done not 2 months ago. Yeah, but he had a DAR do it, but you still need to get some paperwork done, I suppose. I can call the FAA up in the field office down in Pittsburgh and see if I can get any details from them if my friend can't help me out. So, all right, that's going to be the short and sweet of it for this week's video. Again, the only thing left in here is just to wire up my power cord for the charger, you know, for the charging the radio. Put the seat covers back in. Everything works good. Let me show you real quick. Pump on. So, just as before. Alright folks, I'm going to go ahead and get this thing loaded up, and next weekend I'll have the cowl back on, prop back on, everything on. Try to get them wings finished up here a little bit. go around everything, check it over, and then I need to get it outside. I really need to tie it down, chalk it, tie it down real good to a tree or something, and get a full throttle run up on this thing and see where the engine RPM's at. Because I have a feeling I'm going to need to pitch it more, because it had no problem getting to that 35, 4,000 RPM before. Okay, folks, as always, feel free to leave any comments, questions, concerns. I have noticed that my subscription rate is up over 17,000 now, so thank you everybody that's subscribed to the channel and following along. I appreciate the likes and everything. And let's see, the first video of me showing this in the driveway that caught all the attention is over 400,000 views now. The next one, when it's in here like this, not so much. The third video was where I ran it up in the yard. That's over 200,000 now, I think, maybe 270 or something like that. And then the last one, it's coming up. I think it's over 30-some thousand or whatever. But it's they're doing well. So I'll get this one out tonight and get another one out next weekend and see if we can't keep things moving along, folks. Get a hold of the FAA and get this thing rolling, because that's the major hurdle, is getting them out here to inspect the airplane. At that point, I'll have to put the wings on, of course, get everything buttoned up, and I'll have to find out exactly if they want things covered up or if they want, because I was always told they just want to see the airplane when it's finished, ready to fly. They don't say anything about removing panels, and other people say, oh, you got to take the panels off. So, all right, we're at that. Okay, folks, that's going to do it for this update. Hopefully this weekend I'll be able to get one in. Like I said, the weather this weekend was nasty, terrible, and I had some issues with making the parts, so it held me up. And then, trying to find all the cable fittings, and that's what held me up the most. So, all right, that's it, folks, for the last time. As always, feel free to leave any comments, questions, concerns, and if I read your comments and I don't reply, you'll see a thumbs up like on the comment showing that I actually did read them, and most of them don't warrant a comment. They're just saying awesome job, great, and this. So, all right, folks, we'll see you next weekend. This is Down and Done out.